Welcome back to the channel. So in the previous video we discussed about three concepts of LangChain, that is chat models, messages and chat history. And now we'll discuss about tools and tool calling. Okay, those are two important topics to understand, and how LLM, how tools basically, and how tools empowers LLM to do some tasks beyond their capacity. I mean, it just enables them with extra powers, okay, in the form of tools, and they are able to perform a task with the help of these tools. Okay, so we'll directly understand about tools from the code directly. Let me just jump to the file, okay, to a code file. So in this I've just imported my keys and imported some libraries, okay, from we are using OpenAI as our LLM. We're importing the tool also. So let me just import that. And yeah, if you see, a tool is nothing but a simple plain Python function, okay. I mean, it's just a decorated version of a Python function defined by this tool tool decorator that comes with this tools module from LangChain. And in this Python function we have, as it is, the parameters and type of the output that it will provide, and we have a descriptor, okay, descriptor string, and then we have the expression. Similarly, like this, we have defined these two tools. So as you can see, tools are only this much. There is nothing other thing fancy about tools. So this is what you see about tools. Now what we do here, we have imported our LLM model, okay. Then the model is bound with the tools here, okay. We are using the bind tools method from this model, and then we are just passing a list of tools to it, so that the model is aware about these two tools. We are doing nothing but we are making the model aware that, hey LLM model, you have the two tools available at your disposal, multiply and add, okay. And if you see, I have deliberately you know uh, written wrong expression here. For in multiplication I have written a plus b, and addition I have written a into b. We'll see about that, why I have done that, okay. Now if you see, if I just invoke the model, right, we have this model. If I just invoke with a message like this, can you tell me what is 5 multiplied by 6 is, okay. First let me just print the response here, okay. If you print the response, you see we get a lot of things here, okay. In the response we get content, then uh, some arguments we get the tool calls, okay. Lot of things we get, but out of this what we need is the tool calls that it has done, okay. If you see, the content is empty here. Content is nothing but the output string that it has generated, and then we'll print, let's say, content and tool calls, okay. If I print both of these, you see content is empty, that's why empty line got printed. And here if you see, it is provided a list of tools, okay, list of tools in JSON format, okay, that it is intending to call. Now if you see, it did not generate the output for me of, let's say, 5 into 6, that is 30, okay. What it did, it in the tool call section, in the tool calls parameter of the response, it just generated uh, the the appropriate tools that can be used to respond to this answer, okay, along with the, not only with the tool name, it also provided with the arguments, okay. And the response type is obviously tool call, okay. So here we see that LLM does not execute the functions by default, okay. LLM is just, what, it's a just predictive model, right. It knows, given a given an input string or input text, it knows how to generate a relevant output in a textual format only, right. That's what LLM is all about. So you see, I the input was a text string, and output is also a in a textual format. So the main thing is, it did not execute this function to generate the output for me, okay. So now you might be thinking, then how can we execute the tools and get the output then? So for that, you have to write some extra code. For example, each of this tool, right, when you define a function with this iterate tool decorator, now this function becomes powered with the invoke tool, okay. For example, if I show you, let me just add something here, multiply dot invoke. If I do 5 into 3, 5 into 3, let's say, okay, and I just print it, it should, sorry, I think I need to, Let me just go to the tools section and we'll see how to invoke these tools. Okay, we have to give it in a string format. Okay, if I just invoke like this, you see it is able to generate the output because 2 and 3, but here in the expression I've written a plus b. That's why it took the input and it ran this function with this expression a plus b and it generated the output for me like this. Okay, so as all the tools have this invoke method with them, so now what you have to do in order to make this, okay, execute a tool and generate a response, what you have to do, you have to write some more code here. Okay, you see the output is a list here, right? So for e in response dot tool calls, if multiply, okay, so what we can do, we can actually invoke this tool. Okay, we have this tool here, multiply dot invoke with the entire thing. Okay, now if you just print it here, print r, it will print the response for me. Okay, now let's just run it once again. If I just print it like this, okay, response, I think I made some mistake here. So response dot tool calls, dict object is, oh, I think, sorry, do we have to pass like this because it is a dict, let's say. Okay, so if I pass the entire thing like this, I think even if I pass the entire t, it will run. Yeah, if you see, if t of name is multiply, what I did, I passed the entire tool object. Okay, this entire tool dict, I passed it to the multiply tool. I invoked it with the multiply tool, entire tool, this entire t object, then printed a response. And if you see, r dot content has this answer, right, for me, that is 11. In the function I've defined it like a plus b, that's why it did 5 plus 6. So what, so the reason of making it a plus b is here that you can actually run your own logic. Okay, so whatever you define in your function, accordingly it will run and give you the output. Okay, so what we can do, actually we can create a new function for it. Okay, let's say execute tools, okay, which will take tools as parameter and run this for me. And print the response. Okay, now what we can do, we can actually simply do it like this, execute tools and, okay, now if I run this again, see it is able to run print the output. Okay, now let's, similarly we have another tool, right? We have another tool called add. So for that also you have to maybe elif add invoke t, then print r dot content. So actually you could pass t dot args also. I mean, you can, instead of passing the entire dictionary to it, you can just pass the arguments also here. You can pass it like this. Okay, and in that case what it will do, it will give you the output directly. If you print r, it will directly print you 11 here. You don't need to print r dot content. Okay, but as a standard practice I am just doing this. Okay, if I run this, now let's just let it print the tool calls and then we'll execute here. Now if you see, for this example, can you tell me what 5 multiplied 6 is and 4 added with 6? So I am asking it to perform two calculations here, right? So if you see in the list also, in the tool calls list, it generated two objects for me, one for multiply and one for addition. Okay, and then it generated the output for me. Okay, 4 added with 5, I've written it like 4 into 5, that's why it gave me as 20. Okay, So now you understood how the tools are executed and how tools are defined, how tool calling is done, and how exactly tools are executed to generate an output. Okay, so that's about it. Now if you see here, let's just uh, see an interesting thing. But let's say I'm not passing any mathematical expression or anything to it. I'm just simply asking the model with how are you. Okay, if you see here, yeah, in the tools, okay, in the tool section, see now if you see earlier the content was getting empty, right? When I printed response.content here in a few minutes back, it printed empty, and in the tool calls it it gave me this list of tools, right? But here if you see, for a simple question like this, the model was smart enough to determine that yeah, the output can be just a simple plain string. I don't need to give any tools, so the tools is a empty array now. And in the response content, I have something like I'm just a computer program, so I don't have feelings. Okay, some message it has given. So I hope you understood about the tools and how to perform the tool calling. So this is where we did the tool calling. Okay, so this is non. So till this part we have done tool calling. Okay, here we defined the tools here in this place, and then here we executed the tools. So that is all about tools and tool calling. Okay. So if you have any doubts, just put them in the comment section, and I'll try to answer your doubts. Okay. Now if we go here, just okay. Now let me just go to the documentation. Here you will see something about whatever they mentioned. We saw how to define the tools in tool decorator, and somewhere if you see passing the artifacts from one layer to another layer is a bit advanced topic. I'll create a separate video for this. So if you see here, there are some special type of annotations that we can use along with the tools. Okay, so for example, you can use these annotations for let's say injected tools argument. All annotations you can use, so that few things, let's say you want to few parameters you want to inject at the runtime, okay, without the LLM exposing the schema. I mean, if you see here LLM exposes the schema, right? I mean, A is 5, B is 6, something like that. But there, in some cases, you don't want it to expose things like that. So, and you want to pass the parameter in the runtime. So for that, you can use here it is given the code also. Okay. Let's say user ID, I want to pass it dynamically. So I can just define the user ID's type as in injected tool arg. Okay. And it won't expose the schema in it. Okay. Now if you see for the next thing, we have something like runnable config. Okay. So what you can do, even if you have not defined anything specific to, I mean, for each parameter, you can actually pass a configuration object like this. Just like this is a very common practice, right? We can pass object in JavaScript also, and Python also. This is something similar to that. You can pass this runtime configuration. Okay, so for that you just have to define the key with this runnable config annotation. Okay, and you can pass any kind of dynamic value as you want. Okay. So these are some of the special annotations that you can use. Okay, injection state and injection store are bit advanced, and it is related to LangGraph. So we'll cover these two topics when we'll be discussing about LangGraph and store state management and memories basically. So yeah, that was about tools and tool calling. If we go to tool calling, there is nothing much which we have missed basically. Okay, you see all these things we already saw how to do it. Okay, you can go through the documentation. Okay, if you have get any doubts, just ask me in the comment section. We'll discuss there. Okay, and that's all I think. Yeah, so if you like this video, give a thumbs up to my video and subscribe to my channel. We're targeting to reach 2200 subscribers by the end of this month. Keep supporting. And so I've created a detailed playlist about LLMs with few interesting topics. Okay, about LLM agents, then difference between LLM RAG, and with practical code examples. So give it a try. You'll definitely like it. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.